that meeting to today, we have seen remarkable difference in the fight against insecurity in our country by our armed forces and other security agencies. And we are very, very proud of that. Those who have made every effort to steal our oil at an industrial scale, I'm sure some of them may not be that likely to escape. We want to see trials of people who are caught, because when that happens, citizens will know that nobody, no matter how highly that person is, can go scot-free.
And also, the federal government is considering the use of compressed natural gas, CNG, which the country has in abundance, to reposition the transportation sector in urban cities across the country. Minister of State for Transportation, Prince Ademola Adegoroye, said this in a statement by the Director, Press and Public Relations of the Ministry, Mr. Eric Ojekwe, today in Abuja. Adegoroye made this known when he received the Report on Implementation Ready Report on National Strategy Development for the Adoption of Compressed Natural Gas, CNG-based transportation system in Nigeria's urban cities in Abuja. The minister, while commending his erstwhile colleague, Senator Gbemisola Saraki, assured that the report will be giving prompt attention. According to Adegoroye, greenhouse gas emissions pose health and dire environmental consequences, and Nigeria cannot afford to lag behind. And he said this was especially due to the fact that Nigeria is a signatory to the greenhouse emission policy aimed at reducing carbon emissions in the environment. Minister of Interior, Rauf Aregbesola, has said that his ministry will make an appeal to President Muhammadu Buhari for special intervention funding for the completion of 3 out of 6 mega custodial centers across the geopolitical zones to address growing concerns over prison congestion and inmates' welfare. The minister made this known during a facility tour of the Kashi Special Custodial Center under the supervision of the Nigerian Correctional Service, the NCOS, which stands at 55% completion rate yesterday in Abuja. And he said construction work at the Kashi facility, just like 5 others in the 6 geopolitical zones, are at various stages of completion but stagnated due to funding challenges, hence the need for more funding appeal to complete at least 3 out of the 6 before the end of the present administration.
You have a mega custodial facility here. Nothing like this exists on the continent of Africa. This facility will have capacity to hold 3,000 inmates of several different categories. You have a female section that is not yet built at all. And here you have the male. We have special facility for difficult inmates, and that's how best to put it. And you have facilities for ordinary inmates.
And to Ogun State House of Assembly has suspended Dare Kadiri and Solomon Osho for alleged breach of its rights and privileges. The Speaker of the Assembly, Mr. Olakunle Oluomo, announced the suspension during plenary session of the Assembly in Abeokuta. Oluomo said that the lawmakers violated Section 17 of the Assembly's legislative power and privileges. The majority leader of the Assembly, Mr. Yusuf Sharif, thereafter moved a motion for adjournment of plenary until the 20th of September. The Court of Appeal in Abuja has reserved judgment on an appeal filed by the leader of the Indigenous People of Biafra, IPOB, Nnamdi Kanu, seeking to quash the terrorism and treasonable felony charge that the federal government preferred against him. The IPOB leader, who is currently facing trial before the Federal High Court sitting in Abuja, had approached the Court of Appeal to query the legal competence of the charge pending against him. He is praying the court to review the April 8 ruling of the trial court, which struck out only 8 of the 15-count charge, insisting that the charge that the federal government entered against him has no basis in law. He's also urging the appellate court to order his release on bail pending the determination of his appeal. Though the appeal was initially fixed for the 11th of October following an application, the embattled IPOB leader filed for abridgment of the time. The appellate court brought the matter forward for hearing. You're listening to news and reports at 6 on Splash 105.5 FM. Still to come, police officer, beg your pardon, has been shot dead in Canada. And Anthony Joshua accepts deal to fight Tyson Fury on the 3rd of December. Details of these and more after the break. And now the rest of the news, turning to the foreign scene. A police officer has been killed when a shooter opened fire west of Toronto. One other person also died, according to local media, and at least 3 people were wounded in the violence. Police issued an alert about an armed suspect who fled a strip mall in Mississauga, Ontario, in a stolen vehicle after a shooting. Moments later, police in nearby Milton said they had arrested the suspect following another shooting in that town. The police in Mississauga said 2 people had been shot, but would not confirm that one of them had died. Canada has been rocked by several incidents of mass violence in recent years, including a stabbing spree in a remote indigenous community on the 4th of September that left 10 people dead and 18 people wounded. On his first visit to Northern Ireland as king, Charles III said his mother never ceased to pray for the best of times for Northern Ireland and its people. The king also received a message of condolence from the Speaker of the Northern Ireland Assembly. Sinn Féin's Alex Maskey said the Queen recognized how a small but significant gesture can make a huge difference in changing attitudes. Crowds have gathered to greet the King and Camilla, the Queen Consort. The royal couple met well-wishers outside Hillsborough Castle, the only royal residence in Northern Ireland, which has been a focal point for floral tributes.